Alright, hello from welcome to a new video. Today we are doing something a little different. We're playing a stage called Dune, but we are actually playing a level pack that I have made myself. I don't know, this may be a little weird to do, but I don't know, I have seen people play this level pack and I just wanted to kind of share my own, like, the ideas that I had with these levels and like the kind of the things that happen behind the scenes, you know, the developer commentary. So first of all, there's a secret here, a little end tank, kind of like a Pharaoh Man stage, and this is definitely inspired by that as well, you know, by going into like a tomb. But yeah, this level pack, I started working on this in like 2023, so yeah, 2 years ago from when it released in 2025. This released like late February, early March, something like that. And yeah, I basically made 2 levels for this level pack back in 2023. That is this level and a level later on, and I'll mention that when we're in the level. There's a secret here on the left if you actually shoot this with freeze cracker. Okay, I almost died there. But that's fine, because this isn't gonna be the perfect playthrough or whatever. Also, I did really like this little thing that I did here. Like, wow, okay, well. So, as I was saying, I really like this thing here, where you can shoot him down, the Skeleton Joe, whatever his name is. Because originally in this level pack, my plan was to not have charge shot. So this level and the other level I made in 2023 were designed around no charge shot. So yeah, that is a pretty interesting fact. But I just realized that I didn't think the bosses were that fun without charge shot. So I was like, you know, let's just give a charge shot. But I did do Mega Man 4 charge shot, as you can see here, because that is probably the worst charge shot, because it has such a small hitbox. But you know, it still does 3 damage to bosses and enemies and stuff. So it's still a charge shot, it's better than nothing. But it did ruin some things in this level. I originally didn't want you to be able to shoot the dust blocks with the charge shot, because there's a room later on here that I feel like kind of suffers from charge shot, but it's not really a big deal. Like, it doesn't break it or anything, like, it still works perfectly fine. And it's this room here, because the idea here, the intent is you kind of want to make a bit of a staircase. But yeah, with charge shot you can just easily shoot all of the blocks, and it almost feels like you're intended to do that. But when you don't have charge shot, you're really methodical with your shots. At least I am, and most players are, from what I've seen. And then you can actually make a kind of a staircase. But yeah, that is just a tiny thing, and that is of course not really a huge deal there. And that's probably the only part in the level pack that suffers from having a charge shot. So yeah, I'm kind of annoyed by this enemy placement here. He always hits you when you try to go down there, like first cycle. You always have to dodge his shot if you want to take no damage. So yeah, like, no level is ever perfect, of course. But I feel like I did pretty well with this level pack. I'm pretty proud of this level pack, just in general, with the amount of you know, polish it has, and like, just the levels in general. Oh well, we're gonna have some custom music here. Sure. But yeah, there's one part of the entire level pack that I really am ashamed of. You know, that every time I see someone play that, I'm like, man, I should have fixed that. And I'll tell you when we get there. But this was Doom Man stage, and now we have the Power Stone. There we go. The first stage done. So the second stage here is called Thunderstorm Man. And this stage actually has the thing that I'm embarrassed by. That's what I was mentioning earlier. Oh, and also these clouds, they kind of blend into the background. So quite a lot of people die here, because I don't really see the clouds that well. And that is kind of a thing that 1.9 kind of cursed me with, because this stage I started working on in 2023, but I didn't finish it. So yeah, I added this cloud background, and that really messed up. Really messed it up. And yeah, something that makes the stage difficult for a lot of people is that they don't realize to slide jump off the concrete platforms, just like I did there. Because that makes it so much easier to make all the jumps in the stage. And it's difficult when you make levels and you're getting better at the game, then it becomes like you don't really realize how difficult it is. And here's a little secret, by the way. Every stage, well, almost every stage has a life and an E-tank hidden. And if they don't have a life, then they'll have an M-tank or something like that. Or just an extra E-tank. You know, there's all sorts of secrets in these stages. I like when level packs have secrets, so I added a few. And I'll see for how many I can go. I'll try to go for as many as I am able to. Yeah, I already missed one in the first stage because I don't have a certain weapon. But yeah, I did a slide jump there with the ceiling and the concrete platform. And people don't really do that, I've noticed. And that kind of surprises me, because the people I send it to are like, from what I know, you know, pretty good players. They race, you know, in leagues and stuff. And then I'm like, why don't you do that? But it's fine, of course. It's fine. So this is actually a pretty funny part I thought of here. You get a green key and you can basically choose which door to go. But you could already see that there was an E-tank here, so the more secret searching players will go for the E-tank. And usually I would never go for the E-tank and just go. But I want to show off the secrets. There's also a secret down here. You'll get a weapon later on that with which you can destroy these blocks down here, the red blocks. The blast crates, I think they're called. And yeah, and you can go there. I believe there's an E-tank there. So yeah, plenty of E-tanks in this stage. So this is kind of the part where I'm embarrassed by. Not necessarily because of the gameplay, just because you saw we just got a checkpoint earlier. And that's the last one before the boss storm. And I don't think the length is the problem. It's just because there's so much insta-death. You can get to the final section coming up here. I failed that jump a little, so I took the damage there. This is my bad. You can of course do that without taking damage there. But yeah, this final stretch here. So up until this point I feel like, you know, it's fine to not have a checkpoint yet. But if I could edit stages while they're already uploaded, I would definitely add an extra checkpoint right up here, right here. Or, you know, somewhere, just somewhere in this last section, because here, this section here is where a lot of people die. Because it's just a harder version of the section you did earlier. And, you know, I don't die because I made the level. But, yeah. It's... I get why people die, you know. And to have to redo all that is really, really punishing, and it's just honestly not that fun. And I really messed up there. This pack did actually get playtested by someone, Master48. But I'll be honest, when I was making this level pack, this was the last level I finished, and I got pretty tired of making levels for this level pack. I was pretty done at this point, so I just kind of rushed this level out, so I'm surprised it even is as good as it is. Okay, this next stage here is Cool Man. This is the other stage that I've already finished in 2023. I did work on the last stage there in 2023, but I never finished it. So you may be like, but wait, there are 1.9 assets here and 2 backgrounds, and that is not from 2023, back in 1.8 days. And then you would be correct. I'm very smart and stuff. But basically what I did is I did change up some things just because, you know, for some 1.9 things. There were just some things that were really fitting. I liked these little membranes here. I thought that looks pretty cool. And I've actually done that in a few different levels in this pack as well. And apparently I've done it so much that people have accused me of reusing that too much. And I'm like, alright, I'm gonna use it a couple times. But you know, sure, whatever. This stage, I believe, is the most upvoted stage of the entire level pack. And I think that's pretty funny. Because I am 99% sure it's because of the name. And also because the stage is quite easy. So it just gets more upvotes. That is just a fact, sadly. So yeah, I tried to indicate these falling icicles with the rain here. But underwater it doesn't really work. You can still see the more icy blocks at the bottom as an indicator as well. I usually like to really indicate the things I do in my levels. So if you really pay attention, you will notice those things and have an easier time. Oh, we got the little speedrun skip there. Yeah, here again we have the rain. Oh, that health, that life there. What a sad sight. Yeah, but I'm pretty happy with this level. I tried to make the levels very distinct. So the Dune Man stage was a good combination of fighting enemies and kind of puzzling with the dust blocks in a way. And Thunderstorm Man was more platforming. And this stage is more combat focused, so you have more enemies to fight. And just more mini bosses, as you can see. And yeah, I tried to kind of give every level an identity like that. So Doom Man was kind of an average. Thunderstorm Man was more platforming. And this one is more combat. And I am really happy with how it actually turned out. So yeah, that was really cool to see. Because I really wanted to make every stage distinct and memorable. And also I have put in a lot of optimizations for speedrunning, just so everything is nice and smooth. And I've done a few of those strats here already, just so 1 cycles are available. Yeah, that was cool, man. Alright, this next stage here is called Kaboom Man. And this one may be my personal favorite that I've made. I know you shouldn't pick favorites. But yeah, I really like how the visuals look here. So yeah, you can clearly see this was made in 1.9. And to be fair, with this entire level pack, I tried to step up my visuals game a bit more. Because I always thought I was pretty decent at making levels, and just the actual design, I always thought that I was pretty decent at that. But with this level pack, I wanted to make it a point to also improve my visuals. And I feel like I have done that in this stage for sure. So you could kind of see that Dune Man and Cool Man were both a little worse looking than what do you call Thunder Man and this one, Kaboom Man. At least in my opinion. I just put more effort into these. And yeah, there's also some text editing going on here in these tiles. You can just see little cracked bricks here. Those little one tile things. And the bigger ones, those are all text edited. To have like the cracks at specific spots. And it actually took a really long time. and nobody will really notice, but I will. So that's kind of the thing. I really tried to make this level pack for myself as well. Okay, oh my god. This is such a funny E-tank, because it looks so easy, but it is deceptively hard. Yeah, you can easily fail it. And here, this enemy blows up these blocks, and you might think if you kill the enemy before it blows it up, you can get softlocked, but you can actually just barely respawn it here, as you can see. So yeah, I did think of stuff like that, of course. And I think this part is pretty cool. Just keep working on this little gimmick here, and here you have to actually go fast. Even though it doesn't really matter, because you can make this jump from up there to here. It's 4 tiles, and you're going down, so yeah. This part used to actually be really, really annoying. If you just did this, like without thinking about that met, you would fall into the lava, you get shot into the lava, and you really have to dodge his bullet. But yeah, I did change that just to make it a little bit more forgiving. It's pretty early on in the stage still, so yeah. Later on in the stage though, it will happen. Also, with the lava in the stage, I made sure when you freeze it, you will never get softlocked, so you aren't less than 3 tiles below a floor. And those are little things that you don't really think about when you are playing the level. But when you're creating the level, you also don't think about it. But then you play test it and you're like, oh shit, I can get softlocked here. Yeah, here's a little fun speedrun strat. You can just skip this room basically. Yeah, I just thought that was cool. Because the weakness is also freeze cracker. So I did try to make the weaknesses a bit more like when a weapon seems useful in the stage, I should say, then it is probably the weakness. So here the ice is really good, because you can just freeze all the lava. Here the lava used to be way further down, and I'm not sure why actually. Yeah, here you can see here 3 tiles. And yeah, here in the third act of the stage, I introduced the time bombs, and I really like this room here, even though you can easily cheese it by just using any weapon basically, or just shooting it. But I like that you can that the way it is intended with Buster there, that you have to dodge his shot and while waiting. This room here is really quite annoying, I'm gonna be honest. So you can't shoot this guy, but if he blows up those blocks there, you're fucked basically. So you have to do this, and then you can shoot him, and you have to time that, or kind of get lucky. You know, you can definitely time it. There's definitely a queue. Okay, come on. Okay, we're back here, and this room gets a lot easier when you just do this. And see, that's what happens. So now if this wouldn't be frozen, then those blocks would be destroyed. But you can just reset the room like this, and the blocks are back. Just so people don't get soft locked and get frustrated, you know. The usual stuff. Here you actually have to wait quite a bit long. Well, not quite a bit longer, but a little bit longer than you would want or think. That's kind of funny. This part here I kind of like. You can shoot that guy, or you can just go past, I believe. And I kind of like this here, using the timer bombs to blow up the things. This met here is really a dick. If you just go, as I said earlier, you will fall into the lava and you will be dead. And that is obviously not great, but it's literally the final thing in the level, so I think I can get away with it. And also, the section isn't that long. Yeah, here we have Napalm Man. It's a pretty simple fight. You can just... here's a little cheese cubby actually. I made this intended so you can just use freeze here. The actual fight with Buster is quite fun. I quite like it. You can like go on here, you know, and just fight him like that, and dodge him like that. And I do like that. I like what I did here. But yeah, Kaboom, and there we go. And now we get the weapon to blow up these things. Lovely stuff. What a great level. I wonder who made this. I'm just kidding. Okay, this next stage here is called Nature Man. And this level takes quite a long time to load. And you're like, when you see a long load time, you're like, oh man, a really long level. But then you're gonna see. Just wait a second, be patient, and I'll show you. So yeah, I did like these visuals here. I wanted to kind of experiment with some, yeah, more experimental stuff, I guess. And yeah, this is what came out of it. So here's actually a secret that is that may be a little stupid, but I just wanted to reward the people for killing this guy and actually going up here. So there's a kind of invisible ladder there. You can get the E-tank there. I'm not gonna get it because I don't really need it. And yeah, these tigers were also a point for me where I considered to add the charge shot, because fighting these tigers without charge shot is really goddamn annoying. And yeah, here again, this weapon is useful on the stage, the flash bomb, so it will probably be the weakness. Okay, so that first section introduced the plant forms and the rolling things, and now we're gonna have some waterfalls here, along with the plant forms and later on the rolling things. And yeah, this is pretty simple. We're climbing up a tree here. I do really like the visuals here that I made. I like little bushes there. Yeah, the inside of the tree here. Kinda like this. Also that tiger up there. It's really funny, he just keeps jumping around. This here actually used to be an E-tank, but I changed it to a life because people were saying it was too easy of an E-tank. Yeah, here we just have more waterfalls. And now along with this stuff. And this is actually surprisingly easy to fall down here through those things. And yeah, here we go. It's already the end of the stage. So yeah, as I said, long load. You would expect a long stage, but it surprisingly isn't. So yeah, Plant Man. But wait, is it the end of the stage? You can actually jump up here a little and see that there are connected screens. Yeah, I wanted to do a fake out boss here. I just thought that was pretty funny. I wanted to make stuff memorable, and yeah, the forest has been fucking burned. And yeah, now we're going through the exact same stage layout, except with a burning forest instead of a nice, beautiful water forest. Yeah, I like the visuals with these membranes here again. In those styles, they really work together really well there. And yeah, the inside is white, and then it becomes more red the further it gets to the outside as well. Little detail that I enjoyed to do. And yeah, as you can see here, it's the exact same layout. This is where the water was. You were supposed to go down here. The intended trap was to go down with these platforms down here, and then fall into the tiles down here and slide through there. But yeah, now there's lava, and now you have to go like this. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And it uses mostly different enemies, but these top guys, they have surprisingly survived the fire, the forest burning. All the animals are dead, sadly. And new things have inhabited the forest. And yeah, here you can see there's no waterfall. And there are only a few leaves on the branches left, and they're all grey and basically burnt up. Yeah, the waterfalls have of course dried up. Because yeah, it has fucking burned. I don't know, it doesn't really make sense. The waterfalls maybe should have put out the burning forest. But you know, it's my my game, my rules of physics. Yeah, you know, it doesn't always have to make sense. I just thought it was cool to have no waterfalls anymore, because it would just be kind of weird as well. And yeah, here we are back at the boss. Same layout, of course, but here you can see that there's still the burning sky there, but this guy, Plant Man, is kind of keeping the last bit of the forest alive with his magic nature powers. I mean Nature Man, not Plant Man. This is clearly Nature Man, not Plant Man. And yeah, that little bit of lore I just came up with randomly. It wasn't planned or anything. I just thought it could be fun. Yeah, that's basically how this level pack worked. Not much planning, just made levels on a whim. So yeah, that was Nature Man. Okay, now this next stage is called Speedman, and this is a stage I did come up with very much in the, not in the past, but like this was definitely one of the first ideas I had for a stage, and it also definitely has the most I wouldn't say most experimental visuals, maybe that's more Nature Man, but the weirdest visuals maybe. Because yeah, you can see here, it looks kind of weird, I don't know, but I still think it looks cool, so otherwise I wouldn't have gone through with it, you know. It actually took a lot of text editing, these tiles on the inside here of these outside tiles. And then I figured out there's actually a tile that looks exactly like that without any text editing either. And yeah, here we are actually being pulled. So yeah, we're going fast, just like Speedman. I thought that was a cool gimmick. And yeah, I really kind of think this is pretty cool that I'm introducing a gimmick here in a checkpoint stream. You can see that these conveyors are linked up. I just think that's pretty funny. Pretty funny way I did that. Who introduces gimmicks in a checkpoint screen? Yeah, here we have some more balls, but this time with some enemies added. Another enemy bouncing on it. Yeah, I don't know why exactly balls for a Speedman. I don't really know. I just thought they could be a funny, well, not funny, just a fun mix with the other gimmicks I had going on here. So yeah. And here we can unlock a secret with our Scramble Thunder weapon. These are in a few levels, these kind of secrets. Yeah, we get some weapon energy back and a life. Because if you really want to play this like an actual game, you could even make your own life counter, you know. It would be cool if Mega Man Maker actually had that, lives, or some sort of level back feature. But yeah, of course, we want a lot of things, and we can't get them all. So, yeah, this is another one of the parts where you're being pulled by the electricity. And that guy there is actually quite a dick. So if you get hit in a certain way, you will get pulled into the nothingness. And here I actually introduced this gimmick pretty well, I think. I'm pretty proud of this. Because not everyone will know that you have to hold jump here against the bounce wall, but you're forced to do it. So people are just gonna try shit here and be like, oh my god, I figured it out. Eventually. And then they'll know, and then they can use it there. And stuff. And later in the level. Usually I don't like using a mechanic that I learned someone immediately the screen after. I like putting in a little buffer screen, kind of, by just having something else. And also up here, if you pay attention, you should know that those darker green tiles are supposed to go over, like one tile lower, there. So yeah, I messed that up, but you know, nobody noticed. I don't think anyone has noticed or said anything about it, except for myself. And those are the things you don't notice, no matter how many times you test your level. You just don't notice. It's so simple. Because like, look at here. This is how it's supposed to be everywhere. Also, this E-tank. You were actually supposed to make a jump like this down here, but I added these jump through platforms because it's kind of an awkward jump. Like, it isn't that easy to do. It's pretty awkward, and I didn't like that being, like, forcing that. So I was like, yeah, I'll just make it an E-tank. You know, you can get a free E-tank. It's a pretty easy one. But yeah, sometimes you gotta give some easy stuff to the players. And also, because this boss here, it is quite difficult, I would say. This is probably the hardest boss in the pack. And you'll see, because first of all, it's already Quick Man. And second of all, he has fucking bounce balls. And this arena, it's really insane for Quick Man. He does have a weakness. It's later on. We don't have it yet. Because I just don't like if you want to do the perfect boss order, you basically have to start with this guy here. But he's also secondary weak to Buster. So yeah. Also, if you die in any of these ending screens here, teaching screens, there's a checkpoint, so you won't lose anything. Alright, the next stage, Illusion Man. This stage I had planned way differently in my head before I made it. I basically was like, I'm gonna make a level with puzzles, but still make it feel smooth and fast and coherent. But that ended up not really becoming a reality. And also I'm gonna use the oil slider a lot here, because it's really good in this level. And it really allows you to just go a lot faster and skip some stuff. Yeah, you can already see there aren't really any puzzles. There are just Yoku blocks. I wanted to make a sort of some sort of like simulation type stage with the Sheepman tiles, kind of like Sheepman stage. But I ended up not making that and making this instead. Yeah, it still has some puzzles here, as you can see, with the on-off blocks. But yeah, it's not really what I was going for here. But I still think it ended up as a fine stage. Also, here's a little secret. Secret E-tank there. You can't actually see if it's an E or M tank really, because your health bar is in the way. And I didn't do that on purpose, but I did keep it like that, because I was like, you know, you're gonna know it's a extra secret thing anyway. And it'll be a fun surprise when you know it's an E-tank instead of an M tank. Or maybe a disappointing surprise. Yeah, as you can see here, oil slider skips a lot of stuff here. And I did that on purpose. I kept this cheese in on purpose. At least a lot of the cheese was on purpose. Not everything, of course, you can't predict everything. But yeah, I was like, not everyone wants to play a stage like this and really respect it and, you know, do these annoying Yoku block puzzles. So if they pick oil slider, they can just skip all of it. Or well, most of it. Not all of it. Like you still have to do this. Well, I guess you could technically do this. Let me just see if I can do that here. That guy will be in the way. You can just technically do this. So yeah. And also here, you can do this. You can also do that with a pixel perfect slide jump actually. I think that jump there is pretty cool. But yeah, you can also cheese that. There's a lot to cheese in this level. But that just goes with the nature of this kind of level. Oh my god. I almost died there. But yeah, that, as I said, you can cheese a lot, but that just goes with this kind of level. When you make a puzzle level, you will always find people cheesing it. And I kind of just embraced that here. I was just like, yeah, sure, cheese it, it's fine. You can see there, I cheesed it. Like, is it still fun to play? Arguably even more fun, I would say. So, yeah. That's kind of what I was going for with this level. I still wanted it to be fun to play. Here are these illusion guys. I I really wanted to put them in the level, because I was like, illusion man, you know. You gotta have those illusions. That's their actual name, I believe. But when I was making the level, I was like, it doesn't really fit. But then I got to the third section here, and I didn't really know much more what to do with these gimmicks. Also, great death. I'm gonna not cut because, you know, it's basically after the checkpoint. But yeah, I was like, I don't really know what I can do more with these gimmicks. The on-off blocks and the sheep blocks, and yoke blocks, without it getting too insanely puzzly and like complicated. So then I was like, you know what? The illusions, they do actually fit here. So yeah, it's a pretty funny tale there. And I tried to use them in a more unique way. Like, I didn't really want them to be that annoying. And I don't think they are that annoying in this stage. If you just pay attention, they're pretty easy to deal with. Also, this puzzle here, I don't know what I was thinking. First of all, that ladder down there was for the oil slider. But I for some reason didn't realize you can just oil slide onto this, of course. I meant this ladder down here. And also, just, I kind of wanted you to do this, but I kind of messed up in that regard. But oh well. No, that's the kind of cheese where I'm like, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Also, this room is a pretty cool strat actually. It's doing this and then doing that. Otherwise, you actually have to wait quite a bit, and it becomes kind of awkward. And this room here, I'm not the biggest fan of personally. I think it's pretty. It uses all the fucking gimmicks in one room at the end, and I think that is cool that I achieved that. But yeah, it's not really my best designed room. And this boss here is pretty tricky because you can see the on-off switches on the side. So if you miss a shot while you're standing still, you will actually die. But he is weak to oil slider. This weakness doesn't really make that much sense here. But yeah, it was kind of a leftover one. And it does kind of work. It does kind of make sense. I don't know how. Also, it's pretty useful on the stage, oil slider. So yeah. Illusion Man, done. Okay, and now for the final Robot Master stage, Shark Man. This stage, creating this stage, made me actually get back into this level pack. As I was saying, 2023 started this pack. But then in 2025, early January, I made this level. Well, I already had the idea for a Shark Man. And I was like, you know what, I'm kind of curious on if I could make something like that. And I am really proud of this level. Like, this is, along with Kaboom Man, is one of my favorites, just visually and also gameplay wise. Also, I totally did not try to cheat shit there and I messed up, but I played it off cool, you know, so it's fine. Yeah, I'm really happy with this stage's visuals here. Just the colors, the color scheme, that, and it also displays well, and it has a lot of sharp things, and I'm really surprised I could make this many, I could find this many sharp things. Because, you know, the axes, the needle presses, the fork blocks, the blue blocks, and yeah, this stage is also really, these outside sections with the rain here are also really fun with all the sliders, you can see. You can just skip past everything. Yeah, it's so much fun to do. But it's still fine with Buster, of course. This room here is really difficult, actually. You need to time this really well. And yeah, when I say really difficult, I mean, for me it isn't really, because I've tested these stages a lot and played them a lot. This fight here is also quite difficult. I'm actually gonna do it the intended way. You can easily damage boost. But yeah, this is what you're kind of supposed to do. And I do think this is a kind of cool mini-boss. You know, an artificial mini-boss, so it's not really a mini-boss. And yeah, these Night Crushers are also pretty cool. Actually, I think they're from Waveman stage. I always think they're from Nightman stage, but I think they're from Waveman. But yeah, that secret there, that actually skips a whole section. Let me just show that real quick. It skips this kind of section. We're just kind of platforming over some lava. It's not too much special that you're skipping. Yeah, most secrets are like that. They skip quite a bit, and they even give you a nice good item. So I wanted to make the secrets really worth it, so even people who don't like searching for secrets will feel rewarded. Because every time when I find a secret in a level pack and it's just an E-tank, I'm like, yeah, I don't even know why I went for this, because I'm either gonna forget or not use it, or just don't wanna use it. Or if it's just alive, I'm most likely like full enough on HP, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, as you can see here, Oil Slider absolutely makes a joke of this level. Unless when I do that. Okay, we're back. Yeah, here you don't really want to use Oil Slider. Apparently. Also, this guy here, this axe, I'm not that happy with his placement. He used to be further along, further on the right. So you could actually make the jump and then he would spawn. But yeah, my playtester, Master48, said like, it's a little overwhelming when you're already dealing with this shit and then that guy also comes at you. And I get that, but in hindsight I should have probably kept it the same. Because that you can't really do that smoothly, and I'm pretty saddened by that. Because that was my goal with this level pack: smooth, fun, but still difficult and engaging levels. And yeah, I still feel like I accomplished that for sure. But just that little part there, I kind of messed up. And yeah, here these blocks actually used to have some of the needle presses on there. But I did change that because that was too difficult, and so I just added an enemy up there. And I still feel like it's a pretty cool continuation on the mini boss from earlier, if you remember. Yeah, Black Hole Bomb is this guy's weakness. It also doesn't really make that much sense, just like Oil Slider. But yeah, it was kind of left over, to be fair. And yeah, it absolutely decimates him. It's a pretty fun fight with Buster actually, so I would recommend that. Alright, now we're on to the Wily stages. There are 3 Wily stages in total. This is Wily stage 1. I actually made the stage before finishing all the Robot Master stages. And I'm really happy with the visuals in this stage. Just look at the water. That effect there is actually not normal. But it looks so normal that it actually, like, I'm so happy with that. I think that looks really cool, and it's so normal that it actually looks really good. And I'm also happy with these visuals here. I think they're also pretty experimental with the green insides there. They're actually fully text edited, those tiles. Usually they have all sorts of purple things around them. But I yeah, just removed those purple things and made it just the green stuff. And yeah, in this stage you kind of want to preserve your weapon energy. Even though it is possible without grabbing a single weapon energy thing, I believe. Or at least not, you don't have to farm. You get more than enough to not have to farm. That's for sure. Because, yeah, as you can see here, I leave those big weapon energy drops all over the place. Because I don't want people to farm, I don't want to encourage that. But just in case, I do have some tele spawners, as you can see. Just so there's in the soft lock. You know, I don't like farming, I don't like to encourage that. But I like soft locks even less. So yeah. This stage is pretty straightforward though. It's just using 2 weapons here. Mostly Oil Slider and Scramble Thunder. I wanted to make some puzzles with these. So yeah, that's what I did. And then I also added some keys. I actually don't remember if there were keys in the first section. I don't think so. No, there definitely weren't. But yeah, I added some keys here just to make it a bit more engaging and not as much of a straight line. Because, yeah, that's really easy to do. Like, the level is basically just a straight line, at least the outside sections. And, yeah, I kind of mix it up with the keys here. That's a pretty simple trick that I actually recommend for a lot of people. Just add some keys if you have a straight line section. Add some keys, some key doors. And then you get something cool. And yeah, here, the weapons that were useful on the stage are weak. Is what this guy is weak to. With Underwater Yellow Devil, which is surprisingly quite difficult. And also, this is his main weakness, and it is really awkward to hit him with it. But it is possible to do without taking damage, don't get me wrong. Even with the weakness to do that is possible. But it is pretty awkward, and it has been a while since I've done it. So I'm kind of rusty at it. But yeah, I did like the waterfall effect that I did here. So you can kind of see where all the water came from. Kind of. The next station will make more sense. So yeah. See, that's a bit more like it. You don't get hit by his body at least. And of course this is easily doable with Buster only without taking damage. But yeah, this is just faster. And I do like, I usually like giving the main weakness a bit of a challenge still. Even though that isn't always the case with these levels in the level pack. But I do like when that is the case. So yeah, Wily Stage 1, simple, straightforward. Okay, now we are on to Wily Stage 2. We're almost at the end here. And yeah, I did really struggle with making this stage. Oh yes, custom music. I really struggled with making this stage actually. I really struggled with a tile set here. And also gimmicks to use and just an idea for a Wily stage. But yeah, I feel like I pulled it off. I made something cool here. I just added some random presses and I made like a sewer bit. Here's a little secret. tank. I can also skip a screen on the left. You're supposed to... oh, you can't go there of course. You're supposed to go from the left there. Also, you can get a big health here, but you have to watch out. Oh, actually, you can't fall in. You used to be able to fall in. But yeah, I did change that, because that was a little rude. Or so I was told. I thought it was fine. Yeah, apparently it was rude. Yeah, I had some hornet rolls here as gimmicks. I don't know why. They don't really fit a sewer, but I just thought they were... I think they're fun to make a level around, so... I just did that. And I do think I made some pretty fun screens here. Okay, I had a little lag spike there. That kind of messed me up, but it's fine. As we live. And yeah, the fact that there are only 3 Wily stages, I was actually planning on having 4. And there is one cut Wily stage that I did start work on, but I could just... like, nothing really clicked in that level. None of the ideas that I was having clicked. And the type of level that I was making was a really cool idea. I wanted to make a volcano stage. And then after that you would have this sewer stage. I don't know, I just thought that would be a cool thing. I wanted to make a really cool volcano. But it felt... everything that it did felt like it was just copying the burnt section from Nature Man stage, if you guys remember. And that is not what I wanted to do. And I didn't really get any other ideas. It was really, really hard for that stage to get gimmick ideas that I hadn't already done. And I guess there was the rising lava that I tried to experiment with a bit. But after 1 or 2 sections of that, it felt pretty stale. So, yeah. Okay, god damn it. I wanted to get a charge shot in there, because that's really satisfying. But you just have to charge beforehand. Yeah, you can see here, all these presses, I have made sure that you can dodge them. Except for on the Hornet rolls earlier. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of RNG there, actually. Okay, we're back, and here is what I meant with the charge shot being really satisfying. That is just really satisfying. Yeah, we're actually not perfectly back. But I was talking about these presses, and you basically... I wanted to make sure you don't really have to wait to... for them to retrieve back up. And you will see that later here as well. And also here, this little blob here is to dodge that sea mine. You can jump over that. And I kind of wish I did show that off there. But yeah, my skill was lacking there. But yeah, you can dodge that sea mine. Just easily. Here you can jump over the press, as you can see. So if you time that well, then you don't have to wait for it to go back up. And same here, if you just shoot the little eggs. And yeah, there's the end already. This was a pretty easy stage. This is actually one of the easiest stages in the entire pack, surprisingly. It wasn't my intention. Also, this boss here, I did not test it enough. It is weak to leaf shield. That is his only main weakness. But literally everything fucking one-shots these guys. Okay, I guess not the ice, but you can see Scramble Thunder, one-shots it. This two-shots it. Like, this boss is so worthless. I should have changed that, to be fair. But it's fine. On to the last Whitey stage. So yeah, here we go, Whitey's history. And for the keen eye among us... the word among us is cursed, man. But you can see that there was an extra weapon there, the Hornet Chaser, and we don't actually have it. I'll get into why that was there later on. But yeah, here this stage, I wanted to make a quick laser section. I was like, I want to make a cool quick laser section because I just want it. And I thought that was fitting for the final stage. I was planning on making a quick laser section for Speedman, but then I thought maybe it's more fitting for a Whitey stage. So yeah, that ended up happening. And there you can kill the hot dog if you want a purple key here for a secret. And there's actually a fun little exploit you can do later on. So I'm gonna quick reset here. And we will get the key back, but we will keep the M-Tank that we got there. You can see here, yeah, still have the M-Tank. Not like I'm gonna use it, but you know, I just wanted to show off this fun little exploit here. Also, I missed a shadow there. Oh my god. I don't know how I didn't notice that. But you know, sure. Anyway, with the key, the purple key, you're gonna see later why I wanted to keep one of them. This wasn't intentional, because it is a cheese thing. It wasn't intentional, but I did keep it in. So when I did notice, I just kept it in. Because I was like, you know, it doesn't really matter, it doesn't really hurt. And here is the hardest part of the level. These lasers, this screen right here is really tight. You have to perfectly slide here. You can see I had to slide every single tile basically, otherwise you don't make it. And I don't know why I did that. I just thought that was, I think I went a little too overboard there. But also, you got a checkpoint literally right before it. So, yeah, you can't really complain too much. Unless you're acting like you're playing with flies. Then you're kind of fun. There we go, we did it. And here becomes quiet. And we are back in Dune Man stage. And now we can actually show off his weakness, which is Leaf Shield. So yeah. Of course, we have to have the boss refights. So we're gonna continue on here. And now we have all the boss refights. And as you can see here, the purple key blocks this off. So every boss, if you kill them, they'll drop a key. And it'll block their teleporter off like this. And yeah, there are only a handful amount of colored keys. I'm gonna just fight the bosses here. there's only a handful amount of colored keys. So yeah, one of them had to be a purple key. But I gave a purple key earlier in the level, so yeah. It wasn't intentional, but I did keep it in, as I said. And now is also where the Hornet Chaser part comes into play. We are gonna kill this guy. And also this was... remaking these arenas was surprisingly difficult. Like, exactly copying this, it is pretty difficult. And people were calling me lazy for it. And I'm like, it's more work to recreate the arenas exactly than to make a new one. And I mean not new one, but I mean like not the exact same visuals. But yeah, you know, of course in an actual game you can just copy the exact room, you know. So I guess it makes sense for people thought it was lazy. But it actually isn't. So yeah, with the Hornet Chaser part, I will explain it more when we get there. But basically, there are only 6 colors of keys. And there are 7 refights here. So just in case we can see what's on. There are 7 refights in this one room here. There was Dune Man on the earlier screen. By the way, that was only because I couldn't fit 8 on one screen here. It's the only reason. No other reason. You know, it worked, so it's fine. And yeah, here you can see Hornet Chaser. You basically, it gets set to 0 when you enter this fight. And instead of having a key block, it's actually a weapon energy checker block. Because there aren't enough key colors. I'm not necessarily saying I want more key colors, I'm not saying we don't have enough. Oh, look at that. Sheepman can actually fall down the hole in the middle. It's also in the original stage. Was also... It was intentional, that one. I didn't know that could happen. I really wanted to fix it. But... I couldn't figure out a way, so I was like, you know, it's fine. Here we go, the final boss is Cutman, but he gets crushed. Yeah, I thought that was funny to do. So I just did that. And this is the actual final boss. I went a little lazy with the final boss here. I'm gonna admit. It is just Wily Machine 6, I believe. But it does have 3 phases here. But yeah, if you just use Black Hole Bomb, it's surprisingly easy. Unless I'm gonna die here. Oh my god. I'm not even gonna cut this out. This is so embarrassing. I need to walk the walk of shame. But yeah, you do get the Ishishi here. So that is nice. So all your weapon energy gets refilled immediately. Because I don't want to make people like fight this with no weapon energy. That is just annoying. I know a lot of people do that in their level packs. Because the original game does that. But you can't just get a game over real quick to get your weapon energy back in Mega Man Maker. So that's why I didn't opt for that choice. And also because it's just annoying. But yeah, here we go. Black Hole Bomb is his weakness, and that makes it pretty trivial. But yeah, I kind of made this guy... I made the final boss a bit too easy here. And a bit too not unique. Also not killing it because I kind of want to talk. Because I was pretty burnt out on Mega Man Maker at this time when I was done with the level pack. Suck my butt, Wily. But yeah, there we go. That's the level pack with the creator in sight. So the things you guys will have learned from this is that there were originally 4 Wily Stages planned, Volcano 1, and just a lot of fun facts. But yeah, more on the final boss there. I was just burnt out on creating levels, so I made it a little simple, but I still think it fits quite well, and it isn't that big of a deal. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you watched it to the end, let me know in the comments, because you're cool. And now you guys can know more about my level pack. And also, the link is in the description if you want to play it for yourself, even after viewing this. Because it is a really fun level pack, and I'm really proud of it. And I would appreciate if you played it. Yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.